Hello everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Swing and Says. Today I'm joined by my sister and we're going to do a sort of highlight reel of our 2024 reading year.
Yeah!
So the idea is that we each picked 5 books that stood out to us in some way, not necessarily in a good way or a bad way, and then we're just going to take turns going through each of them, I guess. So I think, do you want to go first? Or?
Sure.
Okay.
So I actually finished this book January 1st of 2024, so...
Dang, okay. This is
Okay.
really funny because my first book I finished January 2nd of 2024.
Oh. Okay. So my first book is What the River Knows, and basically this follows Inez Oliveira, who's like an upper society girl who lives in Buenos Aires, and her parents every year go to Egypt and they always leave her behind, and she's kind of salty about that, so she always wishes that she can join them instead of staying in Buenos Aires. Like, she really has some family issues there, but
Why does she really wants to go to Egypt?
yeah, with her parents.
Specifically, she really wants to go to Egypt so she can be with her parents, or she really likes Egypt? Do you remember? This was a whole year ago.
I think it's both.
Okay.
Because I remember when she goes there, she like really loves it there.
Okay.
But, okay, the reason why she ends up finally going is because her parents died.
Oh, shit.
So, she has to go there. Well, she doesn't have to go there. She's like, you know what? I gotta find out what happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go, like, without telling anybody. I'm just gonna leave. Even though, like, my uncle told me not to come. I'm just gonna get on a ship and go to Egypt.
How old is she?
I don't know. She's in, like, late teens.
Oh, okay, great.
But yeah, but because she's, like, a proper lady, it's like, not supposed to be...
Oh, this is historical fiction?
Yeah, it's a historical fantasy. So there is, like, a little bit of magic, too.
Ooh, wait, that's kind of cool. Can you talk a little bit about the magic, or will that spoil the book?
Well, okay, at the beginning of the book, it talks about, like, there's, like, these old spells. They're kind of, like, forgotten, but, like, there's, like, objects that have these magical qualities about them. But no one really, like, they kind of disregard it. And then when they get to Egypt, there is some more magic going on. I don't want to spoil, though.
Don't. Okay. So
Yeah.
is that it for the summary? That's basically the premise of the book, right? It sounds
Mhm.
pretty complete. Okay. Is there a reason why you selected this book as your as part of your highlight reel?
Well, I really like this book. I gave it 4.5 out of
Okay.
5.
Oh yeah, because I know you do like 0.5s, 0.25s, 0.75s, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm different. I just either round up or round down to the nearest whole number.
I just, like, I feel like it's a 4.75.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
That makes me want to do a tier ranking chart with you one day. Maybe we'll do
I just,
that.
like, go with my gut, I
Okay.
guess.
I understand.
But yeah, I don't know, like, I just really liked this book. I thought it was really, I thought it was, like, refreshing, because it's, like, a different genre, sort of. Like, I don't really read many historical fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of, like, unexpected twists.
Ooh, okay.
Especially at the end. And I really like the setting. Like, the setting of, like, Cairo,
Mm-hmm.
and then all, like, the ancient Egyptian artifacts.
Mhm.
I thought it was really, really cool.
Oh, okay. Is it a standalone or a series?
It's a series, so it ended on a cliffhanger, and then the second book came out, like, November or something.
Ooh, okay.
I started reading it, but I wasn't that interested.
Oh.
I feel like the first book was, like, the best.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, that's usually the case, but
Yeah.
okay. I'm glad you like that. So, my first book, which as I mentioned earlier, I finished the day after you, apparently, is called Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I don't know if you remember
I've heard
me
of it.
mentioning it.
I've heard of it. I've never read it.
Okay, so for my anime fans out there, I feel like this book had some pretty strong parallels with My Hero Academia.
Yo.
Okay, because the premise is that this story follows two characters. There's Nova, and then there's Adrian. And I'm cheating by looking at the Wikipedia page. Let me back up. So, Renegades follows a girl named Nova and another boy named Adrian. Nova, she is she's an orphan because her parents ended up being killed, and the heroes of the city were not able to save her parents. So she has a really big vendetta against the heroes who are called the Renegades. And then Adrian, he's the son of the leaders of the Renegades. And Nova ends up infiltrating the Renegade society or group under a different alias to get intel, because she wants to help take down the Renegades down. And the Renegades, I should have explained this, they're basically the superheroes. They're the people who have superpowers, and within this society, it's not quite like My Hero Academia where most people have a superpower, but a lot of people will have these extraordinary or supernatural gifts. And then the reason why I chose this book, not because it was similar to My Hero Academia, but it was the fact that I really liked the message that the book had. It was telling you that you don't have to be a renegade in order to be a quote-unquote superhero. So it's both the fact that you don't need to have a superpower in order to be a hero, in order to be safe, and in order to be valued, and that you also don't need to necessarily follow and conform to the government's institutions and ideas in order to, again, be a superhero, be safe, and be valued. Which was kind of surprising. I just thought that, wow, this book has a pretty libertarian view on society, and I feel like I don't really read books that are political in nature like that. A lot of the fantasy books, they tend to glorify the monarchy and stuff, where it's like oh my god, the prince, so dreamy, stuff like that. And which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that having this kind of message within the Renegades was, as you said with your first book, was rather refreshing because it's quite different. So this one is also a series, it's a trilogy, and I'm kind of excited to read the other two books, but I haven't started yet. I have a problem when it comes to committing to series, so.
What did you rate it?
I think I did a 4 out of 5. It was, like I said, I round up or down, so it was a 4 out of 5. It wasn't a 5 out of 5 because I don't think it really blew my mind away, and sometimes it was a little frustrating to read, but I still felt like it was a good, solid read, and like I said, the topics that they talked about were pretty interesting. And if you are a fan of My Hero Academia, it was really funny to read about the parallels between the two societies. So, and I don't think it was deliberate at all, which was even better.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my next book I finished January 19th.
Okay.
And that was Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt.
I remember when we were talking about this.
Yeah, I was really confused. You were asking me, like, was it about, like, a woman who had, like, an octopus, and it was, like, really weird, and I was like, are we reading the same book?
No, okay, so the story was that I wanted to read, I remember looking up good books to read or something like that, and a book called Remarkably Bright Creatures came up. And so I checked that book out of the library, and it turns out that I checked out a book that was also called Remarkably Bright Creatures, but it was not the same book that I had looked up intending to read.
Wait, it's the same, like, title?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. And the two books, they're both about octopuses, but it was octopi, actually. Octopi, but they were very different. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
But it was very funny because she was telling me that she was reading that book, the correct book that I had intended to read. And I was saying, oh, like, yeah, that book wasn't very good. I didn't like it. It kind of gave me the wrong feeling. It was about a woman who goes to see a pet not a pet octopus, an octopus at the aquarium, and then she's saying that, yeah, the octopus recognizes me and we're getting along so well, and trying to anthropomorphize it. And then Faye was very confused because that is definitely not what happens in the book that she was reading. So
I was confused because I was like, I mean,
no,
if
she
you
told
look
me
at
that the
it
octopus.
like that,
She told me that the octopus was talking, and I was so confused because the book I was reading was nonfiction.
it was a nonfiction. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a really weird way of looking at this book. Okay, anyway, so Remarkably Bright Creatures follows these 3 characters. Tova Sullivan, she's like a really old lady, and she works at this aquarium as a cleaning lady. She works the night shift, and she basically, she's like a really nice lady. Okay. So a while ago, her son disappeared. Her son named Erik, and he was like 18 years old. And since then, I guess she's kind of like moved on from that, and she likes to like keep busy. So that's why she likes working at the aquarium, in order to sort of like cope with that loss. And then there's Marcellus, who is an octopus who lives in the aquarium, and he's basically like a really smart octopus, and he can talk. Well, he can't talk. I don't even know like how to explain this, but I mean, he has his own point of view.
Okay,
So
he is sentient.
Yeah, he's sentient. And he basically becomes friends with Tova.
Mm.
And
How
then
does he communicate with her? Is it just mind to mind?
No. He just like
has a disembodied
It's just
voice?
as if you can't talk. But you're an octopus, you can understand everything, but you can't talk, so he just does whatever.
Okay, but then how does Tova communicate with the octopus? Or how do they communicate with each other?
I think, so at the beginning of the story, she doesn't really know that this octopus, like, can talk.
Uh-huh.
Or can understand her.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, later, the octopus sort of, like, it comes out of its, like, little enclosure, starts crawling around,
okay.
and then goes on, like, little side quests in order to, and, like, well, I can't spoil.
Don't spoil. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
So the third character is Cameron, and he's basically this, like, unemployed, I think he's in his 20s or something, and he's always looking for jobs. He's struggling with, like, his relationships, and his mom left him. Yeah, he doesn't know, like, much about his dad or anything. So basically in the book, through, like, a bunch of unexpected events, they all cross paths, and then it begins to, like, unravel the mystery of what happened to Tova's son. So I thought this book was really emotional and kind of, like, comforting.
Was it heartwarming or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was also kind of sad.
Really?
Because, you know, like, octopuses...
Oh, they don't have a long lifespan.
They don't have a long lifespan.
That's really sad.
Especially in the aquarium.
Wait, that is so sad.
Like, it starts the octopus's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
It's, like, counting down the days.
Oh,
it's so like, I have, like, 100-something days left to live or something like that. It's really sad.
So that means that when the book starts, the octopus was already towards the end of its life?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was so sad. But it is, like, comforting also, because it's like, I don't know, I guess it's also, like, refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing, like, Tova's point of view, like, someone who's, like, old and, like, who's kind of, like, let go of, like, their past.
Mm-hmm.
It is, like, refreshing.
Oh, I see. Okay. I think I want to give that a read then. Yeah, and I just double-checked the book that I got confused with the book with Remarkably Bright Creatures had a different title. It was called The Soul of an Octopus.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think it was when I searched up Remarkably Bright Creatures in my library, Soul of an Octopus came up instead. And so then I checked out the wrong book. But yeah, that sounds like a really good book. I do really enjoy reading those kind of heartwarming stories, even if they are a little bittersweet. It's very useful when trying to think about your own life.
It's just like, she lives a very simple life, and she's like so carefree and happy. I don't know. It just made me so happy.
Who's carefree?
Tova.
That's actually kind of interesting because, oh my god, I'm usually not that kind of person to bring this up, but it feels like in modern society, at least in American culture, once you're old, people kind of assume, they kind of just stop thinking about you. So it would seem weird that, oh, this woman is out here living her life or something, when usually when people think about old people, they just kind of like put them in a nursing home and then forget about them. They just assume they just sit around and exist. So I think that's really inspiring to hear that Topha's out there still living her life regardless of her age.
But it does kind of touch on that, because she has like this whole friend group of other like old ladies, and like you can see the like struggles and like how they're treated by their sons and daughters and their family. Yeah. Okay. I gave that 4.5.
4.5, okay. Also, it seems like the theme of this year was refreshing. Who you wanted something different.
Yeah.
Okay. Because speaking of different, the next book I have is called Ultra Processed People by Chris Van Tulleken, and I finished that May 29th, 2024. And I should tell you what this book is about first. So it's kind of in the title, it talks about ultra processed foods. It goes into kind of like the history and how we ended up in this position where we're having the creation of these ultra processed foods. I'm not doing a good job of explaining it because it's been a really long time, but I don't really know how to say. I feel like ultra processed foods has been in the news a lot recently, especially with these new studies coming out showing the potential link between the consumption of these foods and certain diseases such as cancer. So I feel like this is a pretty relevant book to read, especially if you want to learn more about the topic. And the reason why I put it on this list is just because I felt like there was so much important and interesting information. It was very insightful. And it kind of made me pay more attention to when I go to the grocery store, for example, because one thing that the book kind of made me realize is, for example, when you go into the grocery store, right, and then you see let's say like the snack aisle or cereal, and those boxes, they're like colorfully labeled, and they always are boasting about how healthy they are. They say like, we have like, it's like 0 calories, no sugar, no fat, stuff like that. But then when you actually go to the fresh produce section, for example, you don't see that kind of marketing and labeling on the apples, for example, right?
I mean,
have you ever seen an apple being... Yeah, exactly, right? Because you don't need to tell people that. People know that it's healthy. But then for these UPF foods, right, they have to convince you that, don't worry, like, this food is good for you, it's appetizing, you should totally eat this because you're going to love it. It's going to be great for you. So it was insights like that I found really, that I really enjoyed experiencing, and that's why I put this book on the list. And it's also because this year I did try to read more nonfiction books, and I think this was one of the better ones and more interesting ones that I picked up. It was so much information though that I think I'm going to have to give it a reread. It was definitely a lot of information and very useful as well.
Rating?
It was a 5 out of 5 for me. Yeah.
Wow.
It's hard to rate nonfiction books for some reason because usually nonfiction, it tends to be kind of dry, so I end up rating it a little bit more differently than how I would a fiction book, for example. Because I think for a fiction book, it's meant to entertain you, it has to be interesting and draw you in, but for a nonfiction book, I try to balance it more between the clarity of the explanations and a little bit of how interesting the way the author is able to present those concepts. So.
Okay. This might be on your list too.
What
Maybe. Dreadful?
No, I didn't add it.
Oh.
Because I knew you were probably going to add it to your list.
Okay.
So I didn't want to do duplicate books.
Okay, well, so I finished this June 22nd. Okay. That's like the last day of school. So basically this follows like this dark wizard, and he wakes up one day and he doesn't remember who he is. And then he finds out that he's like this big dark wizard who owns this castle and terrorizes everybody. And he basically finds out that his like old self, before he lost all his memories, he kind of got himself into a very bad situation involving like other evil wizards, and the whole story just surrounds like him rediscovering who he is, but also like learning that he's like different without those past traumas haunting him, and he like discovers his like new self. So I thought this book was like really hilarious. Yeah, I was laughing so much. It was like really refreshing. It's a lot of strange details and a really interesting setting and characters.
Yeah, especially because as you read the book, you realize that a lot of the characters aren't exactly who they seem to be. Yeah,
like you think they're just like pure evil, but they have like their own complexities and stuff.
Yeah, and it's not even as it's not even like it's because they're morally gray characters necessarily. I think it's just because people tend to typecast a lot. So there's this idea of kind of being surprised because you made assumptions about a person, but that's not always the case. And it doesn't even have to be the case.
The main character is so funny.
Yeah, that was a hilarious book.
Yeah. And I gave that 4.75.
Oh my god.
It's pretty high.
Yeah. Let's see. My next book, I feel like I'm really missing with these summary explanations. I should have done a better job. And this is going to be even worse because the next book that I have is called A Bright Heart by Chenli, or Chenli, and I finished this June 30th, 2024. And this book, I really don't remember what happened, except for the premise, which is the fact that the main character, her name is Mingxin. She was in love with a prince, and she helped him get the throne. But right at the moment of victory, the prince, her lover, betrays her and ends up killing her. And in the midst, this is not a spoiler, this is like first chapter, girl. So, and as she is dying, Ningxin, she swears vengeance. She makes a plea that she tells the gods to turn back the time so that she can make things right, because she just comes to realize that this prince that she came to love and help bring to the throne is not who she thought he was at all, and I guess she's back for vengeance. And that's basically what happens in the story. She ends up working with another one of the princes, and together things happen. I don't want to spoil, but they end up working together to try to change the outcome of the previous timeline. And the reason why I added this book was not only because I want to say that it was really satisfying to read, as because it's just a tale born of vengeance, but also because I don't do highlights or notes in my books usually. But when I checked my reading journal for this, the only note I had was at 12%, and it said, "I liked how you smacked that pretty boy's pompous ass." I don't remember the content or why. So that was it. I gave that book a 4 out of 5 because, again, I thought it was a solid read, but it wasn't absolutely mind-blowing. I think it does have some of its weaknesses, but still, if you're looking for a book about revenge and watching a girl boss, then I think this is the book for you. And I think as I talk more about it, there were some like pretty funny moments and a lot of petty moments that were just satisfying. Oh, such a good feeling.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, my next book I finished July 14th, and that was Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I did not like this book.
Oh, really?
Okay, I probably I skipped through so many pages because it was so boring. Like, the plot was non-existent.
What's the premise?
So this is the sequel to Powerless. Powerless, basically, it's about, there's this world where people have superpowers. Like,
Okay.
some people have superpowers because this disease came. Suddenly, people have superpowers,
Okay.
I think.
So it's kind of like Renegades with the superpower thing.
Yeah. But, like, some people also don't have superpowers.
Okay, yeah.
And some people have better superpowers than other people.
Okay.
And that determines your rank.
Got it.
So, our main character, of course, has no superpowers.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, because she is ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that means she's, like, the bottom of society. And, like, I think the king really does not like ordinaries, and so does basically the whole society. They really discriminate against them and kind of, like, try to kill them off. Yeah, it's yeah. So, basically the main character ends up encountering the prince, who is immediately head over heels in love with her.
Oh, dang, okay.
Yeah. And then she gets put in, like, these trials.
Mm-hmm.
And the trials, like, the only stake is, like, glory. It's, like, for honor. You're just, like, fighting to the death for honor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She gets volunteered for these trials.
That's in the first book or the second book?
First book.
Okay.
So, well, this is going to be spoilers for the first book, but by the end of the book, Peyton's main character, Peyton and the rebels that she's, like, allied with, who are also, like, they're with, like, the ordinaries and all, like, the lower class, weaker powered people who feel discriminated against. They basically attack, like, the king, and at the end of the trials, like, so they start a rebellion, which was very unsuccessful. I mean, they have, like, very weak powers, so it was very unsuccessful. And Peyton, like, kills the king. Like, she's just badass like that.
Okay.
Kai, who's the prince, who's in love with her,
Uh-huh.
he sees that, and then, like, it's this whole betrayal thing. He's like, oh, run away from me before I kill you. It was really cringe. And then, so I was like, oh, I have to find out what happens. So I read the second book, which is Reckless, and basically Peyton's now a refugee, and Kai's, like, she swore to the king that, like, he's gonna, like, hunt her down and like kill her, or, like, bring her back. So yeah, it's supposed to be, like, a whole, like lovers to enemies to lovers thing, but I don't know. I feel like they didn't even act like enemies to each other at any point.
Okay.
And, like,
Did you finish the book?
yeah.
Okay.
But, like, I skipped through it because there's so many scenes where it's just like, why is she writing this? Like, there's no like, plot or anything.
Mm-hmm. A lot of
Like,
filler.
the whole book is just them, like, trekking through the desert together, trying to fight their feelings for each other. And then, like, it's so predictable. Like, the plot is really predictable.
Oh, okay.
Like, I can tell that the author was trying to, like, mash together all these popular tropes, but, like, she didn't really do it well.
Oh.
And, like, it's not even, like, an interesting or creative plot. Like,
Okay.
yeah. And then some of these quotes are, like, just so cringe.
Oh,
I just
do us a
can't.
dramatic reading. Please read it in character.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
Wait, no, I don't have any quotes.
Oh. Okay, I thought you did. Okay. If you can find any.
But yeah.
let me know.
But like the thing was like, run away before I kill you. That was just like too much for me.
That's the final straw. Okay.
So yeah, like half of the book was that cringe, and it was like painful to read. That's why I was skipping so much. I basically like, I started Reckless, and then I read like maybe like 20%, and then I just like skipped to the end. Like, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. Like I predicted that end. And I was like, okay, I don't need to finish this.
Is it a duology or no?
There's a third book.
Oh no. Okay.
And there's like novellas or whatever.
Okay.
And also like she had a friend at the beginning of the story.
Who?
Adena. And she's basically like they were like besties.
Uh-huh.
You know, they were like homeless together. And then sorry, I didn't mean. But yeah, so they were besties. And then like she goes to the trials, and then she's taken, like the main character Peyton is taken to the palace and all that. And I think Adena goes with her. And then you just like never see Adena again. And then Adena shows up like, you know, at like 75%, and she gets killed. And I'm like, how was I supposed to like what? Like, I know she's trying to like, the author's trying to make it seem like, oh, like, it's a powerful moment, it's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there was like no like development for Adena. Like, she's like, like, I didn't like feel anything. Like, I'm so sorry, Adena. But I didn't feel anything because like we barely got to know her, and then she just like disappeared, and like she got sidelined.
Oh, okay.
It like I feel like the whole book was just like Peyton and Kai.
Oh, okay. And this still happened in the first book, right? Okay. And the second book was just very boring.
Second book was like, yeah, I don't know what the author was thinking there.
Okay.
It was like a whole filler.
Uh-huh.
The whole plot. No plot.
Okay.
Just filler.
What was the final rating for the second book?
I feel like ratings, it's kind of like hard because like once you get to like 1 to like 1 to 2 stars.
Yeah.
No, 1 to 3 stars.
Uh-huh.
It's like they're all bad.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so it was definitely within that range then.
But I gave it like a 2.5.
Okay.
I feel like I don't really like give a lot of low ratings.
Yeah.
So I don't really know the difference between a 1, a 2, or like a 3.
Yeah, okay. I usually do 3 for books that are decent. It's fine. And then 2 is bad and 1 is atrocious. But usually I never give 1 or 2 star ratings to books because if it's a 1 or 2 star rating book, I would not finish the book. I would just put it down and then I just don't rate it at that point.
I feel like my scale is kind of shifted.
Your scale, yeah, I think your scale is
I give like a 4 for something that's decent.
Uh-huh.
It's like when you're shopping for something, like, you don't want something that's 3 stars. Like 4 stars would be like, it's just like decent, kind of bad, but like decent.
Mm-hmm. I think it's because you do more precise ratings than me. You go with the 0.25, 0.5, and 0.75 as well. That mine is a little different because I feel like if I did it your way, it would be there'd be a lot of books that are only 4, for example. Like books would either mostly be 4s or mostly be 5s, and I feel like that doesn't exactly capture the nuances of how I view books. So
I feel like if it were to be 5, it would have to be like mind blowing. Like it would have to be like 5 should be like rare for me because it's like really hard to give a 5. It's like it has to be really, really good.
Did you read any 5 stars this year? I think Dreadful was 4.75.
Dreadful was close.
Yeah. Do you know of any?
No, not this year.
That's kind of okay. Yeah, that's what happens when you rate books differently between the two of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, should I talk about my next book then?
Yes.
Okay, so my next book is called Dead Wake, The Last Crossing of the Lusitania by Erik Larson. and I finished this October 17th, 2024. And actually, this was a reread book. I read this book last year, but then I started getting distracted part of the way through, so a lot of the details I missed out on. But this time around, I think I was more mentally prepared for the length of this book and the amount of detail. So I definitely got a lot more out of it. And this book, as the title suggests, focuses on the sinking of the Lusitania during World War One, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, World War One.
That caused, well, it didn't cause, but like it was one of the events prior.
That people say led to World War Two, but it happens.
Yeah,
we entered
it
World War
didn't.
Two so much later. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this book, it tells the story from two different perspectives. It focuses on the crew aboard the German U-boat that shot down the ship, as well as a little bit of life aboard the Lusitania, and then also I believe the British government, one of the organizations. So technically 3 points of view. An organization within the British government that was doing intelligence and tracking these U-boats, as well as trying to protect the English ships. And I think for me, this book was very interesting. I definitely enjoyed it the first time around, but I enjoyed it more the second time around because I was paying more attention, so I had a better idea of all the different details coming together and how we ended up with this catastrophe. And I noticed that with Erik Larson's books, he tends to do things in this fashion when he does it from different perspectives, right? And I've read 3 of his books so far, and I would say that he does this kind of different perspectives approach with varying degrees of success, and I think this book was probably the most successful of the 3, because sometimes the other perspectives aren't necessarily as interesting, in my opinion. But in this case, I was actually pretty curious to see how all these different perspectives played a key role in contributing to that sinking. So all the perspectives were really interesting to me, and I was really curious to see what was going on. And it also just, in the larger grand scheme of things, it kind of shows you how the little details, all these little coincidences can add up to cause this huge momentous event. There's a lot of aspects of your life that are kind of left to chance. So it's a scary but also reassuring thought, I guess, that sometimes you don't need to be a perfectionist, but sometimes that one little mistake that you made can have big consequences. So, and as an example of how our rating systems are different, I gave this book a 5 out of 5. I think, again, just because it's a non-fiction book, so I scale them differently, but it was a very immersive story, to be honest, and I felt like I learned a lot. So if you ever want to read non-fiction, to be honest, especially history, I feel like Erik Larson is a pretty good place to start. So,
well, I read The Devil in the White City, and it was really
it was really dense.
Yeah, very dense.
I read that one too. That's
a lot of side details that probably weren't necessary.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't need to know that.
Yeah, especially with that book. But I think with Erik Larson, you shouldn't be reading it in one go. I think if you do it in little small sittings, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
It's much more digestible.
But it was interesting, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's my thing. Yeah.
I learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
Okay, my next book I finished August 27th.
Ooh, okay, so you did a lot of books that are on your list. Most of the books are towards the beginning of the year, then.
Oh. Wait. I think they're closer to the middle. Really? Summer.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
It's a mix.
Because summer is when I have all my free time. Okay. So this was The Scarlet Veil. And...
Oh, you really liked this book, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine I was wrong. You're like, no, I hated this book. I feel so bad for getting that wrong.
Okay, hold on. I don't have the summary for this, but basically, this follows... Well, this is a spin-off of the author's original series, which is Serpent and Dove.
Wait.
You read it?
I read Serpent and Dove. I read the first book. I didn't read the next book. That's the one where it's about witches, right?
Yes.
Okay, did you read that series?
Nope.
Oh, so you just went into this blind?
Yeah, so I just went into this. But, like, I think it had, like, this really interesting effect, though, because like, because they already have, like, established world and established characters, like, you have, like, these complex characters. Because, like, now, like, like, the main characters of the previous series are, like, side characters. So you have, like, these actual complex side characters. And then, like, you zoom in on one of the side characters in the main series in this book.
I see, okay.
And then you start to, like, to develop her character. So, I was, like, really confused, like, the first half of the book, because I was like, who? Like, what is she talking about? Like, her past? Like, she got locked in a coffin or something? I'm like, what? And then, I think it just, like, I just, like, find it really interesting. Like, she's a really complex character.
Who's she?
Celie Tomblay.
Okay, and then what's this book about? We're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Okay, so she is, like, the first huntswoman, and I don't even know what, like, a huntsman is, but...
She's a hunter, or...?
Yeah, like, they hunt magical creatures.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So she's married to this guy, Jean-Luc, and, like, she's always, like, being, like, coddled by, like, her friends because of her, like, trauma and stuff, and she really doesn't like that. So I like how, like, the book zooms in on, like, how that would feel for someone. Like, maybe, like, because she was a side character before, people didn't really, like, notice it. But I think it's interesting how, like, we get to zoom in on, like, how that would be for her as a side character. She's now a main character. And then, so, like, a bunch of mysterious events start happening. There's, like, these bodies being left around that are, like, all completely drained of blood.
Ew.
Yeah. And then she gets abducted.
All in a day's
then
work.
she gets abducted by the Vampire King. They go to his mysterious island, and they make friends. Yeah, that's the plot. So I really didn't see, like, the plot twist at the end.
No spoilers.
Yeah, so there was a plot twist. I'm just really excited for the next book.
Okay. Has it come out yet or no?
I think it comes out next year, March 2025.
Okay. I guess you'll be coming on back next March to talk about it then. Okay.
So yeah, like, I don't know, it was just, like, a really good book because I really like the complex characters.
So you would say it's the characters that really...
Yeah. And, like, they have their flaws, too.
Mm-hmm.
They have their, you know, they're not, like, 2D.
Okay. That's great. Okay. Rating?
Oh, yeah. I gave it a 4.5.
Nice. Okay. Alright. My last book is another 5-star book. It's called Ava Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch by Julia Abe. And this was such a cute book to read. So it's actually a middle school age book. So I feel like in terms of, like, the actual writing and the complexity and the I guess the craft, I would not say it's a 5-star. But that's because it's written for a younger audience. So that's why, like, taking that into account, I gave the book a 5-star anyways, just because I really like the concept and the way that the plot was executed. And what this story is about is it follows a girl named Ava Evergreen who is a witch, but she just has, like, the barest pinch of magic, and she wants to become a novice witch because if she doesn't do that before she turns 13, her magic will get taken away. And for Ava, this is going to be really difficult because, like I said, she barely has any magic as it is. She has just the tiniest smidge of magic. So she knows that it's going to be an ordeal, but she's determined to do it because her mom is a very powerful witch, and she kind of wants to live up to that. And this book just follows her as she goes to complete her quest in order to rank up. And it just follows her as she goes to this town that she's supposed to help in some way. What she's supposed to do is just bring good to them in order to, and then she'll get approved by the mayor, I believe, saying that yes, this witch was very useful to us. We loved her. Like, please give her a higher rank and stuff.
So she has to like help the community.
Mm-hmm. She's doing community service.
Community service,
essentially. She's doing community service, and yeah. So my thoughts on it. Here are the notes. It's okay. It's very similar to Kiki's delivery service, apparently, and I can see why, at least for some of the parallels, because you have this witch who rides a broomstick in a very cute setting and has a cute pet. But for me, I really liked how with the third act crisis and stuff, the author didn't try to cheat with the premise of the story, which is the fact that Ava barely has any magic as it is. Because the author easily could have just tried to take the easy way out, just saying like, oh, suddenly Ava, like, she just had to believe in herself and she got a huge amount of power. Yeah, right? But that's actually not what happened. Instead, we stuck with the fact that even though Ava may not have a lot of magical power, she's able to cleverly use that pinch of magic that she has in order to solve problems and help people out. Which is how that story was resolved. And I really, really appreciated that. I think that really made the story a lot stronger, even though some of the plot details and some of the kind of the timing of the story, the way it was paced, was a little wonky. But I think it was the fact that what's her name, Julie Abe was able to write the resolution to that third act crisis that really made me think that this was a 5-star book in my eyes. So I feel like it's a very cute read, and if you do read it and you're not in middle school and you're older, I think you do have to bear in mind the fact that this was written for a younger audience, so it will come across as a little bit juvenile at times. But I still think it was a really fun read.
Mm.
Okay, so that was all of our books, right?
Yep.
So how would you summarize this reading year? Besides refreshing, I feel like
I'm always looking for something refreshing. Like, I don't want to read the same thing over and over, copy and paste it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess to close out, why don't you tell us what books that you're currently reading now, or a book that you're really looking forward to? I know you mentioned the second book to the Scarlet Veil is something that you're looking forward to, but is there something else?
Yes. I'm looking forward to that. I'm also...
Is it called the Scarlet Veil, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm listening to Percy Jackson, The Chalice of the Gods.
Oh.
The new books.
Uh-huh. I've never read that one, actually.
Basically, he's trying to get college recommendation letters
from
the gods.
That's so funny.
Like, they have to go to him.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, say, like, yo, I'm gonna give you a letter of recommendation. You gotta go on this quest for me. He can't, like, go to them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How is it so far? Is it good?
I feel like it's not as good as the, like, original Percy Jackson books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think it's just, like, nostalgic to be back in that world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then for me, right now, I'm reading a book called A Snicker of Magic by Natalie Lloyd, which is another middle school book, but I remember reading it when I was in middle school to elementary school and enjoying it. So I'm reading that purely for the vibes. And then I also started reading Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, which is the second book after Six of Crows. I'm only 20 pages in, so we haven't had much going on, but I'm excited to see what kind of heist we've got going on here.
Wait, have you read it before?
Crooked Kingdom? No, I've read Six of Crows.
I read
twice.
Six of Crows.
Yeah, I read it twice.
So now I have to read Crooked Kingdom.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see where things will go. Okay, I think, how long have we been talking for? 51 minutes, not bad. Okay.
Oh, wait, there's one more.
Oh, I gotta go.
Okay. There's a book that I'm also looking forward to, which is Once a Villain by Vanessa Len. And that's the third book in Only a Monster. Because the second book ended on a huge cliffhanger, so I want to know where it's going.
Okay. Okay, that's exciting. When is that one coming out?
It says... August 19th. I have to wait a long time.
Oh, okay. At least school will be over by then.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that bad of a cliffhanger. I kind of, like, forgot what happened.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. We have a lot of books to look forward to, and I think we should stop here for today. Thanks
Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, thanks for coming to talk to me about some of your favorite books of the year, or not favorite books of the year, but that was a lot of fun.
Of course. I had so much fun.
Yeah. So, do you wanna close today's episode? I started it. You can close.
How do I close it? I just say, like, bye, or...
Thank the
like,
audience.
subscribe, comment down below.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks for listening. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay. Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to the bonus section. I'm going to ask Faye a very important question. Okay. Ready when you are. Stop laughing. Okay. No, it's because... Stop. Okay. What is the largest animal that you could take in a fight? I got asked this to join a club once. And I was so confused. I could probably take an elephant in a fight. What? I just need a scale. I just need a scale. You need a what? No, I literally just need to climb on it. I can't do this whispering. You need a what? Okay. Okay, stop laughing. Just gonna pretend I'm not laughing. Okay. So, literally, I just need to climb onto its back, and then it can't hit me. It can't stop on me. So then, I can beat it up. That's how I win. You're so smart. like, what's it gonna do? Climb on two legs. Like, what's it gonna do? You have to just roll over and try to crush you. I don't think elephants can do that. Oh, actually. Nah. I'll win. I'm gonna win. Okay. I didn't expect you to be so confident. Okay. They're also pretty big, so they're kind of slow. Okay, but what if it's without any tools or something? You just gotta go at it barehanded. Just, like, go to, like, its back, and then, like, climb up a leg onto its back. It's easy. You're so smart. Yes. Have you thought about this before? No. I don't think I'd be able to take a whale in a fight, though. Because, like, they can breathe they can, like, stay underwater. They can go really deep. So I can't really do anything. Do you want to know what my answer was? What was it? I said a duck. You can't even take, like, a person in a fight. I don't think so. I think I would try to talk them out of it, that's why. I'm not a very violent person. Why would you beat up a duck? Why would you beat up an elephant? Picking on the weak. That's the thing, my strategy is to pick battles that you know you'll win. Well, I know I'm gonna win against an elephant. Okay. Okay, I'll try to ask you one more question. Okay. were gonna say that. I was gonna say that, Tim.
You're kind of weak. I could take the old lady.
No, that's so mean.
Because everyone else is like, they either have superpowers or they're like really like good at fighting. So I can't do that. So like, I think any character from Remarkably Bright Creatures.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, you know that's a good answer.
What about you?
I mean, for among your books, I would have done the octopus.
What about yours?
For me, this will sound very bad, but probably Ava, because she's a kid.
She has magic.
Yeah, but
what about like one of the British people from Dead Wake?
Sure. I'll take him too.
You could probably beat like one of the tourists on the Lusitania.
Oh yeah, maybe that would work too. Okay, but before we get to out of the loop, as a disclaimer, we would not actually do this.
Yeah, I would never do that.
Okay, the violence is never the answer. Please don't hurt people, especially not that we don't pick on people. Okay, I would say this was a wonderful discussion, very enlightening.
Yeah.
So, let us know what animal you guys think